Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 16 of the 20orLESS podcast. We're recording live on June 14th, 2015, and I'm your host, JD, aka Gaddock Teeg. With me today, as always, is my co-host, Cosmic Engine. How you doing today, Cosmic?
I'm alright, yeah. I've had a week.
Yeah, you came back to our country, my country, the United States, the good old US of A.
Yes, I came back to the United States and was greeted by armed guards. It was fun.
Yeah, airports in this country are quite enjoyable, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I just got put in a cell for like 3 hours.
Okay. They armbar you, like drag you back like you're a terrorist, because we all know you are.
I know. It made me laugh though, because like in front of me in the immigration crew was like Romanians and like all kinds of like such diverse, and then there was just the little British English boy who was just like, "Hello, want to come to your country?" And
well, you know what? They heard last week's podcast and they were like, "He likes Fallout 3 better than New Vegas. We gotta interrogate this guy. There's something wrong with him."
The worst part about it is though, it's like it's not even that they like detain you and like interrogate you and ask you a lot of questions. The worst bit is when you go up to the immigration desk and then he calls over the tannoy. He's like, "Yeah, can I get an escort at number 23?" And then like everyone just kind of looks at you, and I'm like, "Yep, that's me."
This is the future that we have built. This is futures now.
Great country.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what have you been playing this week? You got any time in your prison cell to play video games?
No. I actually haven't been playing that much. Other than what I mentioned last week. I've been playing Massive Chalice because I'm reviewing it. I want to make sure I do a good review.
Thorough review.
Yeah. But no, like the Steam sale started, so I've been playing a lot of the Steam Summer game. Have you played that, the monster game?
Yes. What the hell is going on with that game? Can you explain what? You click and there's abilities and there's thousands of people and it doesn't work half the time. What the hell is going on with that Steam game?
I love that thing. It's great. It's addictive. It's just
all you do is click.
I know. Great. Requires no effort on my part, and the best thing is
it would be a bad iOS game.
They've got like the auto hit ability where you automatically attack every second anyway. I just upgrade that and then upgrade my health, so like my health is like thousands and thousands of HP, and then just like upgrade my auto click so I don't actually have to do any of the work myself.
So you're literally just sitting there watching a game play itself. That is the extent of this game that you like.
Yeah, it's great.
God damn.
Oh, it's all right.
Well,
I mean, it's a good idea though. Like for like how they have it. Like if you know they have like the milestone goals, don't they? Where like you use so many abilities, like as a player base, and you get to a certain level and stuff, then you unlock more daily Steam sale games.
Yeah, which is a neat idea. Steam has done a really good job of making each sale interesting in some way, putting in badges or gems or what have you. They've done a pretty good job of making the Steam sale more than just a reason to buy video games. Yeah. Even though it's a great reason to buy video games.
Yeah, but also. I mean, mostly I've just been like browsing the Steam sale. I picked up a few games that I've either played before. I picked up like Lord of the Rings: War in the North. I had that on like Xbox 360 or something, and I thought, I've picking that up for PC, and it was like £3 or something. So I was like, I've just been like picking up stuff like that, just adding to my already hundreds of games on Steam.
Yeah, it's a great actual reason to purchase some of those games you've already bought on console again on PC for sure. Like you actually sent me Castle Crashers, which is one of my favorite games on the Xbox. I used to play the hell out of that game. So picking it up for $1.50 or $2, like that's definitely worth it.
Castle Crashers cost me 99 cents. That's exactly how much it cost me. I was like, get in there.
Absolutely. That game is incredible. I love that game. And just that's why these sales are so good for companies and why I think a lot of them are doing it. There's so many reasons to repurchase games, buy games that you probably won't ever play or had no intention of playing, and it's I think great for everyone. It's great for the consumer and it's great for the developers themselves.
I mean, it's definitely the year to pick up like indie games and older titles
or DLC you haven't picked up.
A lot of the like Darksiders is a great. The Darksiders franchise was like £10, which is like $15. which was, I think it was the whole franchise. So it was like Darksiders 1, Darksiders 2, and all the DLC for Darksiders 2, which is a bargain. Like, those games are like 30 hours each.
I remember enjoying those games, but I think I got to a point that I kind of brick-walled on like a time trial area where you had to kill like 20 enemies or something in 10 seconds and you couldn't progress without it.
The Darksiders franchise is like one of my favorite all-time franchises. I thought it was phenomenal.
Really?
That was one of the reasons why when THQ went under, I was so sad. It was because of the Darksiders games. And it was really sad because it went under right after they kind of rided on Darksiders 2 to save them.
Yeah.
Which no game, unless it's like Call of Duty, is going to save you. So it was a bit disappointing because I remember like in England at the time when Darksiders 2 came out, like they even enlisted like GameStop and Game and stuff like that in England, where they had like when you went into Game and they had the bags of Game were all printed with like Darksiders 2 stuff, and they were really riding on that to like make a lot of sales, and it did all right and I know that they're gonna, like, whoever bought the IP for Darksiders is going to make a third, which is good.
Who did end up with that IP?
I think it was Nordic.
The whole, maybe it was.
I think it was Nordic Games, and I hope that they do really well because like the first game was phenomenal with like Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's voice acting in that game was great. I hated that guy. It was awesome.
Yes, it was Nordic. They picked up Darksiders and Red Faction, also another interesting IP.
I always like Darksiders as an IP is just great. Like the universe and the characters. Like playing the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is a great video game.
Great concept. Right? I mean, yeah, a video game should write itself with that premise.
And like I thought like the Darksiders 1 was like a good, like it was a great game, but it was a bit slow in terms of like the combat movement and stuff. And then Darksiders 2 was just like improved in every way, and it held a lot more RPG elements. So there was a lot more like armor and weapons and stuff. And I thought like the story and the world that it made was just great. And I'm glad that Nordic are going to be making a third because it's a franchise that I think can only get better. So
yeah, and the idea and the concept of, you know, a little bit more of a gritty take on the Zelda, you know, boilerplate stock adventure game. That's a great idea. I'm glad that someone made that. It's about time.
Yeah, Steam sale. Pick up lots of games.
Yeah, definitely check out the Steam sale every day this week for sure. Funnily enough, I've been playing some Fallout New Vegas. I decided to jump back into that game after our discussion last week to reaffirm that it is the better of the two titles. I'll try out Fallout maybe a little bit after. But when I started playing it, I completely forgot about the old school PC save system that it has. I got about 3 hours into the game, and then all of a sudden, boom, died, and went back to the first quest that I did.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, F this, I'm not going to play this game anymore.
What were you saying in bed about it? I thought you would like loved that game and it was like the greatest thing ever.
Well, Fallout 3 is the same stupid save system.
It's got auto saves.
I get it, you wanna be like an old school PC game where you quick save and quick load whenever. That's all you. Well, that's stupid. We've evolved past that in video games. Come on, guys. Do something, checkpoint system somewhere. Some I don't care how. Just get it in there. It's frustrating. But yeah, beyond that, I haven't really had much time to play anything else besides our game of the week this week, which will be This War of Mine, which is a title I'm interested to talk to you about. It's something. It's different. It's something different. But let's get into some news this week, because we're leading into E3, and with that, we are getting a whole host of interesting news nuggets coming out. Let's start off with the Oculus Rift press conference. Did you have a chance to check this out? Did you watch any of it at all?
Nope.
Kind of came out of nowhere. It happened on a Monday during the day. I don't think there was any buzz or lead up into it. All of a sudden, there was a Oculus Rift press conference happening. Some interesting things announced in it on top of games. I'm not going to cover all the game leaks and that kind of stuff. There's just so much of it leading into E3. Maybe we'll do just a run through at the end of all the games. But big items that came out of this press conference. The Xbox One controller will be packed in with the launch Oculus Rift, which will be launching in Q1 of 2016. That's, I think, a very interesting partnership for Oculus Rift, seeing as Microsoft has kind of partnered themselves with their own technology of the the HoloLens or is it? I think it's HoloLens.
HoloLens, yeah.
So Microsoft has the HoloLens technology coming out, but to me that seems more like an industrial type system.
I just think it seems shit.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do for video games.
No one knows what it's going to do. Like the last trailer kind of reveal that we saw for the HoloLens was some guy going through his house seeing Minecraft everywhere. Yeah. And it looked like a film. It was like that's not how it's going to look. Like you're not going to be able to like look at your desk and then have it become like grassland. It's like shut up, Microsoft.
Yeah, where I see that positioned is as an industrial item that maybe an architect uses to design a building. If you could walk through the building as you're designing it, or a 3D model. Something
I think it'll go the way of Google Glass.
It could. Yeah, it very well could do that too.
Like that.
Okay, right. Yeah, but Microsoft partnering with Oculus, that seems to be peanut butter and jelly. If the HoloLens is going to really come through for them, and that's Microsoft, a huge company, Facebook behind Oculus, huge company. That could be a really powerful partnership going forward in the VR space.
So, I mean, essentially all they're doing though is basically throwing in a 360 controller for PC, right?
So at launch you will get a 360 controller. I believe it's the wireless version, because also this week Xbox came out and said that you'll be able to play the wireless Xbox One controller on your PC with a dongle.
Well, you could do that with the original.
You could plug it in, but I don't think wireless is available.
You could just get a little dongle thing and then plug in your 360 controller.
Oh, the 360, right, yes. But the Xbox One, you couldn't, I guess.
But why would you want to use one of those horrific things? Good lord.
But yeah, you will be getting an Xbox One controller. Then they have announced a whole bunch of games. They talked about how awesome it would be if you had a Tyrannosaurus Rex in your room.
I suppose it's okay to throw in a free Xbox controller. I mean, I don't know.
But
at the same time, they're only worth like $20. So
yeah,
throw in like a graphics card that can run your machine. That'd be a great idea.
Well, they did say last week that it was going to cost you like $1,300 to $1,500 to get a whole system running the Oculus Rift.
I don't know how they're going to make this. I don't know how they're going to make this float. With that, what average person can afford $1,500 to make VR work?
I don't see this as an average person's console though.
No, but at the same time, niches don't work the majority of the time. Look at the Ouya.
Yeah, that's true.
They were like, "Oh, it's niche. It's supposed to be niche," and like, yeah, you failed because no one bought it.
Yeah, but you could also look at like fight sticks and flight sticks that are kind of also niche, but they seem to do
maybe
all
so.
right.
But VR is a different. Like you say that with flight stick. A flight stick can work on pretty much any machine. VR can't. And when Microsoft are coming out with Morpheus, and they're like, yeah, Morpheus doesn't require what Oculus requires.
That's Sony
are like pricing you out big time.
Yeah, they also said in this press conference that they'll be spending, I believe it was $10 million in incentives to developers to develop for the VR system. But then again, Ouya kind of came out and said the same thing, that they were going to be giving millions of dollars to prospective developers to develop.
The thing I'm worried is about VR is, one, that it's pricey, and I think it's too at this point in time it's like 4K. It's just too pricey for your average person, so it's not going to sell well. And then the second worry is that it just had like what games actually get developed for it become Kinectware, like the games that Kinect used to have, where it was just utter tat. And I'm like, is that going to happen with VR? Is it just going to be a case of, here's like a VR pet, there you go? Wow.
Yeah, or the Kinect. The Kinect is another kind of example of a niche piece of technology, a really good piece of technology. Like the Kinect is interesting and cool. It's just not very good for playing games with.
It's not very good in general. Like people when Xbox One did announced that they were going to put them in the box, people were like, "No, I don't want that crap." I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that they've got to be careful in where they go with it, because if they don't be careful, then it's just a flop.
Yeah. The other interesting bit that came out of this was at the end of the press conference, they announced the Oculus Touch controller, which is their version of like a Wii mode kind of PlayStation Move-ish controller. You hold one in each hand, kind of looks like a nunchuck, has a joystick. It also has like a middle finger touch joystick thing.
Right.
And then it also has sensors around it that track the motion of all your other fingers. So it could tell, as they claim, it can tell if you're pointing or giving the thumbs up or doing any kind of gesture with your hands in that manner. Which I think is pretty cool, actually. They gave the anecdote about one of the first things everyone does when they put on an Oculus for the first time is try and reach out and touch something that's in this world, and who knows if that's actually true, but it's something that I think we all want to be able to do is being in a virtual reality setting and actually feel like you're touching something, and maybe a motion controller like this would actually help in doing that, getting players feeling like they're in this world.
Maybe. I'm not convinced.
Yeah? You're not convinced? Are still not interested in getting an Oculus?
I am interested. I'm just not prepared to shell out the money for it.
Yeah.
Like,
At what price point are you willing to shell out the money for it? Like, what do you think the price point is right on VR?
I don't know, when it becomes pretty damn cheap.
Yeah.
Like,
so you think if they get it down to $100, is that enough?
Yeah. Well, like the thing is, it's not just the price point of the actual headset; it's the price point of my PC as well, right? So when it comes to the point where I can run my VR on a reasonable system, like I'm not talking about like the worst thing in the world, but like a decent middle range graphics card with like an i5 processor with like 8 gigs of RAM. When I can run VR comfortably on that, and then the actual headset costs like $100, then I'll be interested.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in that respect, the Morpheus is actually better suited to sell to the mass consumer.
Which is why I think Morpheus might well.
But it's also, it sucks that it's Sony behind that in some ways, because Sony doesn't have the money to incentivize prospective developers. You know, Sony is in a rough spot and has been for a little while now.
No, but at the same time, they also
flow.
have the PlayStation behind them, though. They have selling power that Oculus don't. Like, they can go, well, you know, we've got Morpheus. It works on the PlayStation 4. Make us a PS4 game. PS4 games sell. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, though, are you kind of doing the Kinect where it's just kind of a superfluous thing that they throw into every game just to try and sell
it's
units,
one of those things.
but it doesn't really work.
I think ultimately the success of VR all around is going to come down to the games that's developed for it. There's no point in having this software and this hardware if you can't have a decent game behind it. Like, I don't want one of those crappy Star Wars games where you have to swing a lightsaber.
Right,
Like 20 minutes
that's what
still,
the Kinect became.
Yeah, and like, I don't want that. Give me an actual decent VR game, and then maybe we'll talk. But until then, I don't see it enough.
Yeah,
it comes down to the developers at the end of the day.
To me, it's one of the most exciting perspective pieces of technology to be entering video games in a long time. Possibly since the Kinect, but we all know what happened to the Kinect. So, you know, maybe that's a reason to be a little scared here.
We'll see. I will tell.
Yeah, well. Let's move on to this next bit of news, continuing on the long saga of Kickstarter things we talk about, because we love to talk Kickstarters here. The FTC has finally gone after a Kickstarter scammer, or failed Kickstarter. This Kickstarter raised $130,000 to create a board game. And after none of the prizes, or not prizes, none of the goals were actually met, the FTC went after them and found that the person had used all the money personally, used it to move house, used it to basically live his lavish life, and the FTC went after this guy. This is the first time that any failed Kickstarter, has ever been prosecuted in any court anywhere.
That's funny.
Is this a good thing? Is this something that we should hope for, see more of in the future?
Why not?
I don't know. I think, does something like this discourage some would-be starry-eyed person from going into Kickstarter and trying to make something great?
Because most of the would-be starry-eyed people are the ones who commit massive fraud. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be a case of, like, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. People who are legitimate won't be deterred by it because they're legit. Whereas fraudsters and people who are trying to con people out of money will be deterred. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe on some level, yes, hopefully it deters some scammers. But for people that have small-scale goals, I think this could be something that deters you.
Like what?
I don't want Kickstarter to become the place where where all these big names go to just because they want to make a pet project. Like, that shouldn't be the point of Kickstarter. Right, I think it's nice that happens.
No, but at the same time, you can't. This is business. You can't just come in there with a dream and go, or just give me X amount of money and I'll make it happen if you don't know how to make it happen. Like, Kickstarter isn't a place where dreams come true. It's where business goes to put into practice what they want to do. Like, that's it's not for some like 16-year-old teenager to say, you know, oh, I want to make a game. It's for like legitimate products. Like, people go on there to make inventions come true and stuff. Like, if you don't know how to make that work, and you know, ultimately it's about delivering products. If you don't deliver your products, then you deserve to get done for it.
I guess, but on the other hand, there are some people out there who have big ideas, big dreams that may not work, and I think that's okay for Kickstarter.
But it depends. Like
Kickstarter's failing, I don't think is the be all end all worst thing in the world.
But I don't think but I don't think it's a case of the FTC. Just like if your Kickstarter gets successfully funded and then the entire project collapses because some unforeseen thing, I don't think the FTC is going to be bothered. Like, it's about proving where you put the money, right? So if you went off and took $200,000 from backers and went on holiday with it, then you deserve to get it done. But if you put the money into manufacturing, into business, into the things you were trying to develop, and it still fails, then the FTC aren't going to get after you because you've been proven that you put the money where you said you were going to put it. It's it's not like the FTC are going to just turn around and go, you took this, didn't deliver. Like, there's an investigational process. Right? I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
But I don't want this to get to a point where every failed Kickstarter, all of a sudden there's a class action lawsuit, and all of a sudden, like, everyone is being, because I think that's only bad for Kickstarter. I think that will go towards the demise of Kickstarter. Really, if every failed Kickstarter, there's all of a sudden there's this investigation, and I think that'll prevent people from going to the service at all, and then I think it will only become the big projects that we see popping up on Kickstarter.
Like I say, I'm a pro consumer first person, so anything that gets people who are con artists behind jail or in whatever trouble that they deserve to be in, then it's fine by me.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think overall this case is a good thing. It's just some possible ramifications of this in the future could lead to bad things, I guess. Is that the slippery slope argument? Yes, that is a slippery slope argument in a nutshell, but it still scares me a little bit.
I can't see it getting out of hand.
No. Alright, since we talked a little bit about the Steam sale at the beginning of the show, let's continue and talk about a little controversy, or controversy, as you would probably say, regarding the GTA 5 Steam sale. GTA 5 was one of the first games put onto the Steam sale, and people may have been slightly confused to see the game still costing $59.99. And with a little bit of research, you could find that was not actually the game that was discounted. They had created a package of the game, so you got the game with basically an online currency card that you can use on GTA Online, and I believe they packed in one or both of the older GTA titles that are on Steam, made that $79.99 and then discounted it to $59.99. Some people were upset with this, saying that GTA is trying to trick people into thinking this new GTA game is on sale on Steam, when really it's the same old $59.99 price point. Some people even didn't realize that they had added anything to it and thought they just jacked the game up and then discounted it as the Steam sale came, just so it looked like it was on sale. What do you think? Is this scummy from Rockstar to do something like this, or do you think this is a legitimate a sale thing?
I think it's fine. I mean, I wasn't expecting GTA to be on a big scale sale anyway at this point. Like, it's only just released on PC this year.
Yeah, I feel like a 33 or 25% discount would be pretty standard for PC games of that scale and that time
It's frame. One of those things. It's like, well, I mean, they've added stuff to the package, right? So technically, like, the real retail value of the package would be like $80, $90, whatever.
Right.
And then it's only, what, 60?
Right.
So it's fine. It's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
I understand that people are upset that it's...
You don't think it's a little scummy on the front page saying, "Oh, big sale, GTA 5," and
I guess it is,
it's,
but it's one of those things that it's, you know, if you don't read what you're buying, then it's kind of your own fault.
Right, and in this case, I don't think it's so egregious since they did pack some other stuff in there. You know, the initial outcry was based around the fact that there was nothing in there, that GTA had just jacked the price up, which would be really scummy on their part.
If they just jack the price up, like, and then not put anything in, then that's bad.
That's something I could completely see a lot of indie developers doing, though, before Steam sales, is jacking up the price of their game and then doing massive discounts on it. And I think that would be something that Steam really needs to stop. If all of a sudden every early access game became $60 before a Steam sale and then discounted 90% down to its retail price, like, that is something
that is something that I was annoyed to see at this Steam sale so far. Is like, there's so many early access games on the front page of the Steam sale. I'm like, why? They're not even full games.
It gets worse every Steam sale too. Every Steam sale, there's more and more early access games, and I think it's just...
I hate that crap. I hate
more and more early access games.
I actually wrote an article yesterday about early access, basically saying that, like, I would just be like, refunds are great and everything, but they treat the symptom rather than the cause, and early access is still a breeding ground for fraud.
Right.
And that, like, yes, it deters in some respect, but at the same time, it's not gonna stop the core of the problem, which is the lack of curation on Steam's end, specifically in early access. If you don't want to, like, curate the entire store, that's fine. But, like, early access specifically has basically no rules on getting onto it. Steam have a set of guidelines, but they're never enforced. And the only time Steam has ever taken action was in cases like the War Z, when they were, like, purposefully misleading customers, like, from, like, the store page, and they use stolen assets and stuff like that. Steam have only ever removed, like, 3-4 early access games in the entirety of early access, and that was only because it got massive media attention. So it's just a case of they need to curate early access, and, like, they need to, like, put in rules rather than guidelines, and saying, look, because, like, one of the guidelines is, like, early access is for betas and, like, late alphas, and not for...
Well, the word beta means nothing
right,
anymore.
But they're basically
nothing.
saying that, like, the guidelines state that basically you should have, like, most of your development done rather than a prototype of a game, whereas most games on early access are prototypes and not, like, in late stage development. And then, like, another guideline is like, if you can't afford to develop the entirety of the game, don't be expected. Like, if you can't afford to develop the game without a high number of sales from early access, don't go on early access, and that kind of thing. And it's like, it's reasonable guidelines from Steam, but they're never enforced, and they need to be rules rather than guidelines to stop crappy Unity games. But, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, there are games that have been on early access for over a year with no updates, and they're still available for early access. That game ceases to be early access if it's not getting updated, and it's still in early access.
There's a lot of games that become abandonware on early access, and
exactly.
And the worst thing is that if you actually look at the statistics of how many games originally were on early access and how many games actually made it to completed states, it was something like less than half. It's like, it's something ridiculous low, like 30%, 40% of games actually make it to full release, which is shockingly low.
Yeah, and it's sad because it looks so poorly on the good guys, like the Darkest Dungeons or the Kerbal Space Program.
I said this in my article. I was like, there's games like Necro, Darkest Dungeon, that kind of thing, that are perfect examples of how good early access can be. Right. But the problem is that they are the exceptions rather than the rule.
And it's similar to the Kickstarter thing. Like, I don't want to deter those people from going on to early access, because I think it's good for gaming, early access in theory, if we end up with games like that. But it's one of those for every 30 or 50 or 100 of the crappy Unity asset copy pasta game.
Speaking of Kickstarter, actually, the game I backed just successfully got funded like 20 minutes ago. It made its...
Which one is that?
Umbra, which is like a top-down RPG. Looks really good. Although I did question their stretch goals, because their very bottom stretch goal at like 300 and some thousand was playable female character, and above that was like exclusive green armor, and I was like, really? Like, is the playable female character not more important than like a set of green boots?
Right.
I was like, and then people were like, well, it costs a lot more money to make it. I'm like, well, yeah, it does, but at the same time, if like they had like several different armors as stretch goals, like for backers and stuff, and like if you put all them together, you've basically got enough to voice act and make character models. I was like, why not just switch them around?
Is a palette swap is like $25,000, but a female character,
Yeah, it was a very odd thing. I don't think they meant it as like a bad thing, I guess. I mean, because I give people the benefit of the doubt. It was just very odd to place the female character at the very last stretch goal.
That's
all right.
Even if they don't mean anything by it, like it still just doesn't look great for them.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, and I was almost like, are they trying to like entice female backers to give more money to get that? I was like, it's just a weird thing to do. Like I just didn't understand it at all. But like the actual game looks really, really good. So
who is that by? Is anyone?
Solar we know? Fall Games. I've never heard of them before. But I think that they have developers who've developed other stuff. I can't quite remember. But the actual gameplay that they showed and stuff was solid. So.
Yeah. All right, top down like Fallout style RPG, that kind of like original Fallout.
Yeah, more like Diablo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. More like a Diablo style.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That could be interesting. It's already funded, so I guess people can't back that anymore. But when that comes out, we'll probably cover it or do something about it. And then the final bit of news is E3 is coming this week. E3 obviously is the big. It's the mecca of video games, I guess.
This is the week I get no sleep.
Yeah, it's a week where a lot of people don't get any sleep. A lot of journalists and game people and developers, and a lot of people talk about how this is the worst week in video games. But a lot of people think it's the best week of video games. It's exciting. A lot of new things. It's really not.
It's not exciting. Don't say that it's exciting. It's not exciting.
It's exciting for me.
It's not exciting. It's awful. You don't see any gameplay. You see cinematic trailers that are supposedly gameplay. Battlefront looking at you. That was not in-game footage. Don't try and bullshit me. And then people are like, oh my god, this game is going to be amazing. And then like 2 years later when it releases, they're like, this game looks shit. Like, yeah. I told you at the time. I told you at the time that it wasn't going to look like that, but you don't listen.
Yeah. Well, there was the great article this week on Kotaku about trailers and how they get made and the things that go into them. I hate
Kotaku sometimes. Kotaku last night, they did the clickbaitiest article I've ever seen in my life. Basically, Bethesda, the Bethesda press conference is tonight, but they were obviously practicing last night, so someone actually pressed to go live on Twitch.
Oh, really?
And it went live for like 3 minutes, and basically you could hear one of the guys practicing about what he was going to talk about and stuff with another guy.
Right.
And he basically said he was practicing saying, "I'm honored to be here," right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty choppy, but you could clearly say that you could clearly hear that's what he said, right? And then this guy came up and said, "Yeah, you're being picked up by a mic." And the developer went, "Ha ha ha, very funny." He was like, "No, really, move away." And then they cut the stream, so people recorded this. And then Kotaku went and put up an article saying Dishonored 2 has been officially announced.
Is that really what was that there?
No, no one mentioned Dishonored. No one mentioned Dishonored 2 at all, right? But Kotaku just decided, you know what, we'll just clickbait the crap out of this. And the actual article was like a 400-word article, and none of it mentioned any evidence, even mentioned anything that was said. It just said, yeah, they went live on Switch, and then someone said about Dishonored, and I was like, no, they didn't. Like, no, they didn't. That was not mentioned. Like, the guy said, "I'm honored to be here," because he was practicing his intro. Kotaku, you clickbaiting.
Oh, is that? Wow, that's funny. See, Kotaku, okay, yes, they're part of the Gawker Media Group. You're gonna get some clickbaitiness for sure, but they do have some really good writers over there. There was an article
on. I don't mean to bitch about traditional games press.
No, it's fine. Feel free to.
Polygon wrote an article a couple of weeks ago about Rock Band 4.
That was. I mean, that was.
Did you see that article?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
And I was like, the guy went to an event, didn't play the game, and then complained about the game, but complained about it. What did he say? That games were just meaningless, and that like he was wasting his life.
You're just clicking buttons.
You're just clicking
anyway,
buttons, and life is meaningless. And I was like, who are you? What? Why are you writing this? I was like, you're a games journalist. What? I felt like.
I mean, some people get way too full of themselves.
And then he came out and said that it was satire, and I was like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Yeah. No. And I was like, I was like worrying about why any Polygon editor thought that was a good idea to publish that. And secondly, I imagine the guy who wrote it just basically saying like, I wanted to be a political editor when I grew up, but now I'm a games journalist. And I'm like, just leave.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
Yeah. I don't know. Clickbait is the order of the hour right now for video games journalism, and most journalism these days. That's the sad state of the internet, I guess.
The thing is,
one of the few downsides of it.
The thing is about clickbait, though, like the actual clickbait system of to do it, you can actually do good clickbait that's like critical content and actually worthwhile reading without doing it trashy.
But that takes work.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want to put up the headline because that takes 15 seconds to write, and then you get 100,000 clicks and $2 on AdSense or whatever that's worth.
Yeah, but I don't know. But anyway, enough bitching about Polygon and Kotaku.
Yeah, but let's go back to bitching about E3. So, is there anything you're excited about for E3 this year? Anything you're looking forward to seeing?
Not really.
No, more Fallout 4 is probably going to happen.
I guess the thing I'm interested in is details, right? I'm not interested in game trailers. I'm not interested in bullshit CGI. I'm not interested in any of that. Like, everyone gets all hyped up about that. I'm not hyped up about it because I have to watch it and then report it, and that's boring.
Is there anything that someone could announce that would excite you? That would
not really.
Any deep back catalog game that could be revived or anything like that?
No, I mean I would like there are things I would like to see that aren't going to be there. There's a couple of things I am interested in. I am interested to see if Visceral announce their Star Wars game this year.
Okay. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I'm interested to see it. Most of the games I'm actually interested in are like indie games. Like Dreadnought and stuff like that. Like those games are like kicking ass at the moment, and like big AAA publishers haven't got much on. I'm interested to see if BioWare come out this year about anything about Mass Effect 4.
Could happen. Definitely could.
Because last year we got nothing. Like we got like a trailer with what's his face in, and it wasn't even about Mass Effect 4. It was just about BioWare in general. I was like bored. I've heard rumors about Star Wars: The Old Republic 2. Have you heard this?
I don't know if you've seen the leaked information, but someone at BioWare accidentally hit upload instead of save or whatever on the website and put out a whole ton of information about the next expansion. I think it's called Rise of the Fallen Empire is the name of it.
So it's an expansion, not a like.
It's a full-on expansion, but it sounds like it's going heavy into the story content.
Oh right.
Unconfirmed whether that's class content or not, but they're actually calling the expansion chapters, just like they called the initial 60 levels that had the class story. Those were your chapters. There was information calling these different chapters of the expansion.
Okay.
So take with that what you will. Maybe they're doing some more class story. There was some information about swoop bike racing that will be a mini game. It seems. Cool. That would be cool. It's interesting to see that, and I'm wondering if that will actually be multiplayer swoop racing, because every time they've talked about swoop racing in the past, they said it was impossible with their current network architecture.
Impossible for Austin.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see where that goes. There was some information about the possibility of killing companions. So maybe you could kill your companions finally if you wanted to.
I would rather them just make Knights of the Old Republic 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't want to play an MMO anymore. I just want a single-player game. But whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of games that I'm interested in. I don't think there's anything in particular that's going to be announced that I'm going to sit there and go, I did not see that coming.
Right. That very rarely.
I suppose that I'm just more interested in getting details about games that have been announced or have hinted at being announced and getting the details in about what's actually going to be what the game's going to be about, right? So, because I'm sick of like trailers that are just like the Battlefront trailer, right? It showed nothing about the game, like nothing.
Yeah,
like I'm interested to see what.
I mean, it was in engine, as they always say, with all the DICE trailers. It was actual in engine gameplay or whatever
that means.
Yeah, right.
But I'm interested in seeing like getting actual hardcore, like proper legit details about games rather than seeing some pre-rendered trailer that looks nothing like the actual game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see how people react to the Oculus Rift. The final retail unit should be there. So
there is the thing about YouTube coming. Like YouTube is starting their own like stream service for gaming.
Oh yeah,
like to rival Twitch. That will be interesting to see what that's about.
It will be interesting. I wonder if they'll allow you to stream AO rated games like we talked about last week.
No, but that's something that I'd be interested in using because it depends on how they integrate that with like YouTube partners and stuff. Because they have like a kind of live stream service available now, but it's crap compared to like what Twitch has. And it's like gaming specific. So I want to see like what the details are on that and what how they're going to make it rival Twitch, because Twitch is pretty hard to rival right now.
Yeah. Well, and plus their streaming services in the past have paled in comparison to the breadth of what Twitch has to offer. Twitch has been doing this for a long time, and they're pretty ingrained with people. I know Hitbox has been trying very hard to break into the market share a little bit, but maybe someone with the buying power of YouTube will be able to crack in themselves.
So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think E3 is I'm just gonna take it as it comes. I've got to watch a lot of press conferences and get lots of details because I've got like some of my colleagues are like actually at E3, so they'll be like sending me stuff frequently, and then I've got to sit and write. Fun.
Yes. So you were saying 12 people at your website were covering.
Yeah, like 12 people
E3?
at the website are going to cover it.
That's should be exciting. Games getting announced. I always get excited. Still, I'm a sucker. So.
No, I'm just one of those people who's interested in like the genres I like at E3 rather than like the general thing. Because like I know like there's probably going to be another Gears of War announced.
Yeah.
And like,
I think that's been leaked for a while.
So I'm like, oh, that's boring. Give me some like space.
Certain things have already been kind of leaked. The Dark Souls 3 seems to be pretty much official. The leak of that, which was like crazy high-res footage and still images that seem to be way too good for a leak, but take with that what you will.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a case of seeing what it's like. And
I'm looking forward to Nintendo. I always like what Nintendo does. Since they've pulled out of the show and just done their own thing, I think it's been way more fun to watch Nintendo stuff, because Nintendo has their own sensibilities, their own style, that doesn't really fit into the press conference system, but I think it works really well when they do their treehouse streams and their that kind of stuff.
I just pulled up my list of things that I was like relatively interested in seeing. Like there's a Warhammer End Times Vermintide game, which is like a first-person game set in a first-person shooter set in the fantasy Warhammer world, which looked really interesting. Total War Warhammer by Creative Assembly and Sega. That looked fantastic. I've been looking forward to seeing that.
That could be good.
Mirror's Edge 2 be interesting.
Oh, I'm psyched for Mirror's Edge 2. Well, it's not Mirror's Edge 2. It's Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yeah, it's still 2.
It's a reimagining of the first game, it sounds like.
The new Deus Ex game looks interesting.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Someone brought that up to me. I kind of forgot about that after it was announced. That could be neat. First, the last one was
Dreadnought. A couple of indie games like Life is Feudal looks interesting.
Yes. Dishonored 2 also leaked out.
Maybe.
Oh, we already talked about that, sort of.
Maybe. I don't know if it'll be coming or not. Like, I'd like to see it, but as far as I'm aware, the only thing that Bethesda are actually going to be talking about is Fallout 4 and Doom.
If that's all they talk about, why are they having their own press conference?
I don't know, but we'll see. And then there's something called Battleborn, which is coming up at the end of this year.
What is that? I've heard of that before.
I don't know.
I
saw the trailer one time.
Battleborn.
So that looked kind of interesting. And there's a couple of like Sword Coast Legends I'm interested in hearing about, which is the Dungeons and Dragons RPG. That looks interesting, and there's a couple of other games. Like there's so many games at E3.
Right.
So we'll see. Well, I mean, it's one of those cases. We'll see if there's anything surprising.
Oh, Battleborn is the new Gearbox game,
Right.
the game by the Borderlands guys, right?
So
Okay.
we'll see what happens and see if it gets, if anything actually piques my interest.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to the game of the week. This week we did an older game, one of the games that went on sale with Steam sale very recently. If you're listening to this right now, I think you can pick the game up still on sale. But usually this game is $19.99, and the name of the game is This War of Mine, published and developed by 11-Bit Studios. It's a strange kind of Warzone simulator that we'll get into. It's hard to classify this game, I think. It's just a little bit of survival, kind of RPG-ish, maybe, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Its website is available in the show notes, as well as where you can purchase it on Steam, GOG, and Gamersgate. This was a Polish studio that, previous to this, they developed a couple smaller games, a series of RTS games named Anomaly, which I was not familiar with previous to this. I've never played those games. This game is really interesting because it's inspired by the siege of Sarajevo during the Bosnian Civil War. This is not a fun game. This is not a nice game. This game is going to mess with you in the head and make you feel really bad about yourself. And I kind of liked it. What do you think about this?
I love
game?
this game. I actually reviewed this when it first came out, and it's actually my highest viewed video on YouTube.
Really?
I absolutely adored this game. I think it is the perfect example that all games don't need to be like happy fun times, make you feel awesome.
Right.
Like all the events in the game are actually based on stories from survivors of not just Kosovo and stuff, but survivors of like war crimes and stuff. So one of the most memorable instances in that game for me was sneaky. Like you basically the way the game works is essentially you and a group of survivors are in like a derelict bombed house, right? And then you have to use what supplies you can to build what you can. And then
it's a little bit of like base building, a little bit of scavenging, kind of a mix of
resource management with like food and water and stuff, and keeping them alive. And there's also like a psychological and mental health mechanic where you've got to keep them in good spirits. And any decisions that you make in the game will, like for example, if you go out as one person and do something, then the others will comment on it and have an opinion on it and stuff.
Right.
One of the great things about it, and so at night, like at the day, you spend the day at your base. You can put people to sleep for the day, and at nighttime you have to send out one person to go scavenging for supplies and food and stuff. And that's where all the action takes place, basically. One of my most memorable instances in that was going to a supermarket to try and scavenge food. And then I came across like it was a soldier about to rape a girl. And basically, the game lets you choose what you want to do. So, and it's not like it goes into a cutscene and you choose a dialogue box. It's in game. You make your choices in the game. So, I could have just run away. I mean, the guy was armed. I had no weapons whatsoever. So I scurried around for a little bit, and I actually found like a little butter knife. And I managed to sneak up behind the guard and stab him with the butter knife and save the girl. And then, like, basically, I suppose you could say it was like as a reward, but it wasn't really like a traditional quest reward. It was like I just got to get his gun because I killed the guy, right? It's not really as a reward for doing a good deed. It's just something that happened because of the circumstances. Like if the guy was weaponless and he was just using his fists, I wouldn't have got anything. So I'd have done the good deed and not done anything. It doesn't work like that. The game has lots of great little moments like that. I think a lot of times when you're scavenging, you'll come across people with little mini stories and little mini kind of quest type things where, oh, this person obviously needs food or bandages or something, and a lot of times you can't do anything about it. You don't have anything on you to help you. You don't have anything they want, and you can't find anything they need. So it's not like a game that's set up to make you feel good, like you're the person that's going out and
doing all these good deeds, and you're saving everyone by yourself. You're gonna save all the civilians from this terrible war.
And the thing is, everyone's
going on.
different. Like, there's good civilians, bad civilians, good soldiers,
Right.
bad soldiers. Like, you come across a whole host of things. Like, there was one instance where I actually shot someone who was a scavenger because I thought he was he was like running towards me, right?
Yeah, that I actually wrote that down. One of my favorite moments, and the moment that really made the game click for me, was I went into, I think it was the supermarket, or it may have been something else that was like high resource but high danger, and a person comes running at me with a shotgun, and I'm like, well, this character's dead. I don't have a weapon. This is it for this guy. And he runs up to me with the shotgun, and I think he's dead. If I had a weapon, I would have fought back. And he's like, there's plenty for all of us. I just killed like a guy that was trying to kill us, but just come. I have some food. We'll help you out. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like no game does that. Every game, the guy with the shotgun, he's gonna kill you. He's the bad guy. This is a bad world.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of greatness.
Mine was the complete opposite. There was a guy running towards me who had a weapon, and so I shot him without thinking. And then it was actually at in a rural neighborhood, and then I actually went further on into the level, and there was a family, like a little girl and a granddad, crying because I'd just shot their family member who wasn't going to attack me. He just wanted to come and see what I was doing because he was trying to protect his house. And so I'd shot like this perfectly innocent civilian while his family was watching. And I was like, oh, I feel evil. Like, and it was awful.
And you can go into like richer people's houses. Like there are houses that you can go to, and there's little dialogue and some bio that's written, and it's like these people are lucky enough to still be able to live in their own house, and you can go in there and you could steal stuff from these people. And is it really wrong because they're kind of the upper class and they're allowed to live in their own house, and they're lucky enough to have plenty of food and jewelry and all sorts of stuff? Isn't it kind of right for you to go and rob some stuff from them?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of moral grayness in the world.
There was stuff like that. There was one specific instance where I robbed an old couple. I felt awful about it, and then I actually found out later that they had died because I took their supplies, and because they were old, they were like, we weren't able to go scavenge themselves. And it was just like, it's just one of those things that it's like, it's supposed to show. The game isn't about like your traditional do your objectives and you win the game. There's no winning. It's about surviving the war, and it's about like portraying the harsh realities of civilian life in a war zone, in a war-torn city. And I think it does that really well. And there's lots of choices in the game that have serious consequences, and there's no point, like, there are instances where you feel good, like for example, if you go out and you don't manage to harm anyone in the process, and you scavenge and you get enough supplies to feed everyone and everyone's happy.
Yeah, nothing's stolen. Yeah,
that's great. But then there's a lot of times where there's just morally grey issues, like, you know, maybe you do come away with a resource, but someone has been harmed in the process. Someone innocent has been harmed, or, you know, you go out for the night, you have a really good haul from a supermarket, and then you come home and you find that two of your people have been raided by, you know, other survivors or the army at night and been killed. There's all kinds of, like, there's just such a wide range of stuff.
I think it strikes that balance really well, and I think, like I was talking about the grayness of the game, a lot of games like this also would go for the everything is terrible, like you're never winning, you're never getting ahead, like you are just going to die eventually. But this game makes you feel like there are some good days, there are some upticks in morale, and people aren't always like terrible and unhappy and dying all the time. Like you can do well for everyone, you can feed everyone if you're doing well enough. But it's just that is intercut with these days where everyone is dying, everyone is hungry, everyone is tired, and nothing can ever go right. And I think that really sums up a war zone. I've never been in one, but from what I've heard and seen, that kind of stuff really does happen. Like there are the good days and there are the bad days.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great game, and I recommend anyone plays it. Like, it's just one of those games that it's mechanically built really well. The writing's great. The art style is fantastic because it's kind of got like this grey bleakness to it, but also it's not ugly. It's just nice.
Yeah, I thought it was a little ugly in spots.
I liked it.
I thought it's a little muddy at times. It doesn't really have any sharpness to it.
The sound is good.
Sound is good. It's serviceable. I don't think there's anything standout to it.
Not standout, but it works well. And I think that the whole game just provides a great atmosphere. And ultimately, it provides emotion, which is something that some games fail to do.
But I also really like the fact that after certain key events happen to certain survivors, they'll get updated bios, so it'll have like a little blurb of what that person thought like that day.
Each kind of character has their own kind of journal kind of thing, where they and like, so if you go out and make decisions and stuff, like if you rob an old couple, the other people who stayed at home will have like an opinion about that in the journal. And it also, the choices that you make affect their morale. So if you do something really bad that is like inhumane, then that will affect their morale. And at the same time, there's like a variety of personalities within the survivors. So even if you like say you risk your neck for a family down the street and hide them, two people of your group might think that's a great thing that you're doing and be really happy about it. But there'll be like one guy in the group who thinks it's too big of a risk and thinks you're being reckless. And like survivors, if they get too unhappy, can actually leave. So there's all kinds of like things in the game that are just...
Yeah, the game is very human, I think is the best way to put it. The game just feels like real people are put in this situation. Like it's not AI, it's people actually making decisions and choices, which I think is a testament to how good the game does what it's trying to accomplish. It's a really interesting game. It's not something that you're going to take out on a Sunday when you feel like playing a game all day. Like, it's going to drive you down eventually and wear you down emotionally, but it's an experience that I think is important, and I think people should really try it out for themselves.
Yeah.
So, you got any other comments? Now I feel like sad. I'm like depressed thinking about
it's
this
not
game
a fun
too
game
hard.
to play, but I think just for like the experience of it, and it's a great... If you're so used to playing games that are just like feel good games, then I think it's a perfect example of what games can actually do. In terms of like how they portray a certain message and how games can affect you more emotionally. I think it's a perfect game for that, and I absolutely adore that game. I would recommend it every day of the week.
All right, yeah, I would definitely also recommend this to... I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to my broy of friends who are like, yeah, we're going to play some Call of Duty this weekend. Like, it's not for that crowd, obviously. But if you're into different kinds of games, this is definitely something you should try. And with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. As always, you can reach us at 20orLESS Podcast on Twitter. You can email us at 20orLESSpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to email us suggestions of games you'd like to see covered on the show, both new and old. Anything less than $20 is open to be covered at the end of the show as the game of the week. Also, join our Steam group page where you can talk about our episodes. We have our discussion topics up there, as well as the curator page where you can see any game that we've recommended. And Master Chalice did not make the curation page, so I know that was a question last week. We didn't like it enough to make it on there. But other games that we have liked a lot, they are on the curation page. Also, let's clean up some contest giveaways we've had. Last week, Alucard Tesla won the copy of Master Chalice by talking about how much he likes character customization. And at Colto Killer is the winner of a copy of Mirror's Edge from my impromptu Steam sale giveaway. And I will be continuing to give away games via Twitter, so make sure you follow at 20orLESS Podcast throughout the Steam sale, where I'll be giving away free games as they come up on sale. So free is less than sale, right? So check out at 20orLESS Podcast. For next week on Twitter, if you'd like to win a copy of This War of Mine, what was your most heart-wrenching experience from a game? So any game you've played, what was the most heart-wrenching experience? Tell us on Twitter at 20orLESS Podcast, hashtag 20orLESS, and you'll have a chance to win This War of Mine, and maybe that'll become the most heart-wrenching game you've ever played. Where can we reach you, Cosmic, if people like to talk to you?
If you want to talk to me, you can message me on Twitter, which is at CosmicEngine99.
What's your phone number? People want to talk to you.
My phone number. Not telling you.
All right, so where else can people?
You can get me at youtube.com/thecosmicengine. I will have a massive Chalice review out this week at some point. I'm so busy with E3 that it's like depressing me. But I will like over the summer. I'm gonna like really pump out content like as much as I can, and really start to grow the channel. So go subscribe.
You released a video on, was it Invisible Ink last week? You did a video on that, and was there an early access game you covered last week too?
I didn't do an early access. No? I've got one this week to do.
Well, check out his Invisible Ink video. It's a good condensed version of what we talked about on the podcast on the game.
Yep.
And if you'd like to reach me, you can get me at GTeeg on Twitter. That's GTEEG on Twitter. GaddockTeeg at GaddockGaming.com is my email, so you can reach me there. I think that's it for the show. I'm tired of talking. I don't know about you, Cosmic, but it is hot here. So I'm going to go turn the AC on.
And it's stormy here.
All right. Thanks for watching.